So here we are, Fallout Season 2, Episode 8. You know, I was hyped for this day. I really was. I got my last one Nuka-Cola grape. I had some wings, nice bag of sea salt chips that I got for free at 7-Eleven. Apparently, they weren't selling them, so that was an inventory error. So they just gave it to me for free. Sweet day, I have to say. And I sat down and watched the season finale of my sister. And I have to say, I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was very entertaining. And despite my nitpickings throughout the reviews, my certain hiccups here and there, I enjoy it. But before I really get into it, let's talk about the landmark thing. The thing that the website of Fallout TV show was showing, where it was showing a landmark. And on this day, it was doing a sudden reveal. And the reveal was, I don't know why everyone thought it would be a Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas remaster reveal, but this has nothing to do with Bethesda. This is everything to do with the TV show, Amazon and stuff. So they weren't going to do it. I don't know why people thought that was going to happen, but it did happen. It said a little 3D tour guide to go around the Lucky 38 and stuff and look at some behind the scenes stuff. That is it. And everyone was disappointed. Everyone, for some reason, thought this would be a remaster. But y'all should already know, when it comes to marketing for things that you want to get, you should know by now that these people never give you what you want. Just look at freaking Fallout Day, for crying out loud. Fallout Day. But to be honest with you, I can see why people be upset. Even not knowing it's because we haven't had any new Fallout content to play in years. And a lot of people don't want to play 76. A lot of people may be playing 76, but not the whole community as a whole. A lot of Fallout fans don't care for 76. There's some that do. They're very loyal. They're able to shill themselves $30 to get that very sweet power armor they showed at the end of the series, at the end of the season. But a lot of people aren't stupid. They're not willing to do it. Now, Bethesda, if you really want my money and you won't give me Fallout, a new Fallout game or a remaster, why not give me that Enclave Pip-Boy? Hey, just give me the Enclave Pip-Boy. Have it President John Henry Eden on it. Just lecture me about how good America used to be and how to make America the way it's supposed to be. Have a little music that plays in Fallout 3. Hey man, give me that Fallout Enclave Pip-Boy, baby. Or how about you've been making power armor toys and sets a lot lately? Why not make an NCR Ranger power armor toy? I know I said last episode, but just do it, man. There's two things right now. Two things. I'm a Pip-Boy collector, so I collect Pip-Boys. So, hey man, two things right there. I give you my money. Because I'm not buying that freaking New Vegas Anniversary Edition. I am not. Not just for some fucking Victor robot. I'm not. It's not worth it. It really isn't. Let me sell you a empty copy of New Vegas, but with a code inside and some cards and stuff like. Man, get out here with that. But I'm done. Let's just talk about the show. Let's talk about the show. Oh, some things were answered, and we got even more questions. Let's talk about Norm's side first. Norm was about to be executed or stand trial until he pushed the main leader of the Vault management crew pushed the girl, and she hit the elevator. Elevator opened up and released the roach farm. And the roach farm came and attacked everybody. And it's funny how these guys were attacked by roaches. In Fallout 3, probably a lot of people died because of the roaches. Because Vault people are very weak. A normal person out in the wasteland could easily handle a rad roach. Can easily handle one. Child's play. Most Vault people are very weak and they don't know how to handle these kind of creatures. And they're the weakest creatures in the game. Are rad roaches. But for them to die by rad roaches is freaking hilarious, but yet kind of gruesome. So the most ironic part is that Norm survived because their stinginess. They will not let Norm into them as they were trying to lock the door, but the roaches got inside anyways and devoured all of them, except for the girl that he's been talking to throughout the season. And me and my sister looked at each other. It's like we were happy that Norm survived and the girl survived. It's like, how did she survive? How did she survive? Now, he would understand if he would have pulled her out towards the end and the door closes behind them and then the roaches had killed them all. That would make more sense. And she would have been bitten, but she would have been okay, but still bitten. That would have made more sense. If you look at, like, why? How? How are all the roaches dead? Like, they just killed each other. The both people in the roaches just finished each other off at the end, and only one girl survived. Like, okay. So we were like, oh, okay, weird. And he drags her off to wherever he's going. He said, let's get you home. So is he going to go back to the vaults, or is he going to go somewhere else to get help? We'll have to wait and see. But either way, there goes all of Vault Management. All of Vault Management is dead. They went outside, they ate some mac and cheese, and then they went to a Vault Tech tower, and they died, accomplishing nothing. Imagine that, dude. Imagine that. You were trained to be the next managers to help lead them. Norm led these people to their death. Think about it. They were supposed to be in their pods, and they're supposed to wake up every other couple of years, each at a time, until it's time to reach the surface, and there they go. That was their entire purpose, but Norm took it away from them, and now they're all dead. Like, yo, that's kind of messed up when you think about it. Norm said these people have to die. I know it's indirectly, but still. If Norm was so curious, left things alone, these people wouldn't have died like this. But here we are. Now, we got nothing to see what happened in Vault 33 when it came to whatever was going on in Vault 33. I don't care what was going on in Vault 33. We know they were having a water shortage. And I didn't care about the one guy who created the incest club and was just eating up all the snacks with everybody because he wanted attention so badly. And the story went nowhere. I hate what they did with Betty's character. In season 1, please tell me I'm not the only one who thought this. In season 1, Betty looked like she was the main antagonist in Vault 33. She had this creepy, menacing aura about her the entire time in season 1. And it just disappeared. Just disappeared. Went nowhere. I'm like, okay, what happened? What happened to Betty? Now she's gone soft and she's being walked all over and stuff. She's caring so much. We all thought she was the one that poisoned all the raiders inside the prison. The one that cleaned up the vault. She made her look what? I'm pretty sure I'm not the one who thought this. Now Steph, who in a way is a very cool, interesting character and everything, how she did everything she can to climb her way to survival. You know, her running in, and she had the door closed on her, and everyone's like, they're tired of management. So she was about to have the same thing was about to happen all over again in Vault 32. Think about that for a second. Vault 32, when we first saw it, was torn apart. There were dead people everywhere, and they tortured the crap out of the Overseer. That was about to be the same thing that happened to Steph. But Steph locked the door, and she's about to summon the Enclave. It turns out she's Hank's wife. She's Hank's freaking wife. Like, yo, where did that come from? Where did that come from? That is nuts. Now, let's go on with Maximus. Maximus is fighting off the Death Claws. He's giving everything he can, and Thaddeus being the best friend that he can be, helping him out, even with his one arm, while everyone else is hiding inside. One dude wanted to help, but no one else wanted to follow him, so he didn't do anything at the end. Like, wow, okay, selfishness. It's just funny because when I'm really playing Fallout New Vegas, when I'm on Freeside and you see some thugs, a group of people come out and shoot down the thug who's trying to attack you. So people in Freeside aren't selfish. Which is one thing that really irked me about the show was the behavior, but I'll talk about that towards the end. So as he was about to be attacked by that Deathclaw, he about to go all Spartacus on the Deathclaws, getting a pole and a roulette table as a shield and stuff. An NCR Ranger doing another call out to the opening to Fallout New Vegas, shooting the Deathclaw in the head, headshot. And this Ranger right here, me, this is me by the way, right here, shooting the crap out of that Deathclaw. And the NCR comes wrong. That captain shows up. I think she's a captain. And I'm like, the entire time, like, where were you people? I'm glad that the NCR is here. I really am. My question is where were you? We're probably going to get some answers. We still don't get no answers on Moldaver's backstory, like how did she got into all this. But where were the NCR at the entire time? You know, the ghoul went to different NCR places and is empty and abandoned. So where were these guys? They even abandoned that area where all their weapons were at, where Maximus found the NCR power armor, which I want, by the way, but we don't know. And I find it kind of funny, but we'll find out probably. And then at the same time, we also had the Legions part, where McCullen finally grabs the body, opens the letter, and says, he is Caesar, he is Legion, and the Legion dies with me. LOL. You know, I can see that. I can really see that. You know why? It's because Caesar was that much of a selfish person. Caesar was a self-centered guy. Despite his philosophy, his intelligence, he did all this for himself. Lennius was only really loyal to Caesar. Joshua Graham was only loyal to Caesar. And when Caesar dies, it did fall apart. The infighting happened. And now here we are. I just like the way it was executed, but on paper, that is what did happen. So he took over, and now he's marching on to New Vegas to take it over. I guess Hoover Dam is useless. The main real reason why they were in the Mojave was to take Hoover Dam first to get the power. Then they would take over Vegas. It's whatever, man. It's whatever. Now, we also have, now let's talk about Lucy and the Ghoul. You know, Lucy and the Ghoul. You see, Lucy opens the door and she sees the Congresswoman's head there. And she's begging for death. And Lucy's at that standpoint where, like, why does everyone wants me to kill them all the time? She's always at that part. And she doesn't want to do it, but she did it. And I think it's okay because it was a mercy kill. She may not feel good about it, but she did do a good thing. She ended someone's suffering, a very good person's suffering. And Hank explained exactly. And of course, people point out, hey, you realize that the helmet she was wearing is the same helmet Mr. House uses to keep himself alive in his pod that's under the Lucky 38. So there's that, by the way. And she was being kept alive because of her personality. She truly was a good person who thought she was doing the right thing, telling Coop to hand over cold fusion to the president and make it as a resource to give it to everyone, so therefore it can end the resource war. Not realizing that the president himself was part of the Enclave, and they captured her instead and tried to use her for this experiment. A good person that can be a link for the microchips to control people. And as she was about to be held on with these chips by her own father, the ghoul shows up with a pit boy with Mr. House, him doing everything Mr. House tells him to do, shoots Hank in the butt, like Lucy did, and says, I would usually not shoot you in the butt, but you're not my target. She's your target. No, you're her target, so she can decide what to do with him. And then he walks off to go finally find his family. There are the pods, but the pods are empty. Mr. House telling him he once again bet on hope, but it got you nothing in the end. But the ghoul saw this as a very positive thing. He saw a card, a postcard. The postcard said, Colorado was a good idea. So he knows his family is alive. So he's off to Colorado and see what's going to happen there. That's awesome. Now, in the past, Coop is the one that set some things off. He gave Cold Fusion to the president, gave it to the Enclave. Then he also helped Steph get into Vault 33 indirectly. Well, 31 technically. Turns out she was married to Hank. So Hank had her going out into the pod. At the same time he did, because someone mentions that Bud doesn't recognize Steph. But Steph is there anyways. And she also works at Hank Enclave as Hank's wife. But no one else knew that they were technically married. But Hank married a Canadian. And then freaking, it's crazy. So Hank married somebody else. I'm guessing he didn't really love the woman like he loved Steph. And Steph also married someone else. And she probably didn't love the guy that she was with. And then she was planning to marry someone else again, just to blend in with these people. But the biggest mistake she did was, of course, not hiding her Canadian ID. And also throwing Sonny's glasses into the freaking sink. You could have thrown them in the trash and no one would know about it. You gotta throw it in the sink. I'm sorry, I'm not letting that go. That was stupid. Like, come on, Steph. You're supposed to be a thinker, man. I guess she got too lax or focused on so many other things as overseer now. So that's what happened. But anyways, Lucy captures him and was planning to turn him in by him facing justice or by killing him. But Lucy's idea was to turn him into the father that she always thought he was by using the device instead. But before that could happen, Hank gave her one warning that the Enclave already have other parts of these chips and have already perfected the chips. And will probably start spreading them. And even told Lucy that the real experiment is on the surface and not the vaults. So he had his own dial, used it, and wiped out his memory. No longer there. There you have now the ghoul with his hope. But in the past, he got captured and about to be arrested. And he told his wife, Barb, to act like she's surprised what happened. So in season 1 of episode 1, the divorce happened not because him and the wife couldn't agree on each other anymore. Him and the wife didn't love each other anymore. It's because he wanted her to be safe. That's what happened. So they were still together, but just not legally anymore because of what happened. He wanted to protect her. And that got me right here. It really did. Good old Coop, man. Good old Coop. Some say they disagreed and wish it would have been different. So giving the ghoul more reason to be more untrustworthy and stuff, it would have built his character up more sour and hardened. Which I would agree, but at the same time, it gives him that soft spot that somewhere deep inside him is still his humanity. Is that everyone else screwed him over but his family. So that's why he's so desperate to find his family. So that's where it should make sense. Yeah. So he decided to walk off, takes out the pit boy, and says, I'm no longer working for you. But Mr. House, I guess, wanted Coop for other things to do. Now, Lucy meets Maximus finally. And they're there at the top of Lucky 38 preparing for whatever happens next in this crazy, crazy, wild, wild wasteland. But there you see Mr. House pretending to be asleep. He's pretending to be asleep and then with no signal, but he slowly glitches on, letting us know that he is still there, listening on Lucy and Maximus. I wouldn't be surprised if he uses Lucy and Maximus for whatever he wants at this moment, whatever he plans to do. And it turns out the reason why the Death Claws are in the strip is because someone from the Enclave did it. And there goes the end of season 2. Despite my nitpicking, despite everything I complained about, things that didn't make sense and stuff like that, I was okay with it. The main thing I would complain about, really, the only thing, at the end screen, at the end, Elder Quaitius, whatever his name is, I forgot his name, was like, he wanted to be the unifier, but now he wants to be the destroyer after everything that happened. So his chapter survived the attack, the little civil war they had. They had a civil war, but it just wasn't with the Commonwealth. It was with the other factions that he invited, which is very, very ironic right there. Well, anyways, he has a blueprint for Liberty Prime. The only thing I have is how he's going to do it, but he's going to find a way. He has the parts, I guess, to create his own Liberty Prime. Okay, I like to see Liberty Prime, so we're going to have Liberty Prime in Fallout 3, Season 3. I'm excited for that. I'm down with that. How is he going to do it? We'll just have to wait and see. One thing I learned about watching this season is sometimes you just got to shut up and wait. You didn't ask the questions, but don't criticize about those questions you have. Just ask the questions. And then you just say, we'll see what they do with it at the end. If they don't do anything, they're not good, so you can criticize them. So, the main thing I had problems with this season is pretty much majority of the series is the behavior of a lot of the characters. A lot of the characters act stupid. A lot of characters don't make sense. A lot of the characters are too selfish. The reason why I say that is that when you play a lot of the Fallout games, the behavior of the Wasteland is not like that. Even going back to Fallout 1, hell, even playing 76, you have people who are looking out for others and are willing to help others, of course for trade or work, but you still have nice people. Same with Fallout 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, and even 4. You have all these Fallout games throughout time that you played, that I played, where you had nice people. But the fact that they went on this thing acting like Lucy was the only nice person in the Wasteland that anyone knew was kind of silly to me. Especially for someone who played the games. But then again, my sister told me maybe that's just for people who haven't played the games. And so therefore, they think maybe it's like that for themselves. So, like I said, this show is meant for fans and also meant for newcomers. So, I understand that, but still, it's kind of a kind of thing. And plus, how they made the Mojave act way too wasteland-like, where in the Mojave, you had people who had good shacks. They weren't eating fleece soup. They would eat bowfly soup, mute fruit pie, prickly pears, and stuff. You even had fire gecko skin you could have eaten, meat and stuff like that. You had other things you could have eaten in the Wasteland, not just fleece soup. I think it was just a thing for newcomers to watch, but to me, it feels like a lazy thing. They could have done anything. Boatfly soup, man. They had a boatfly, not a rad roach, but a boatfly. Kill it. There were no Kaizadors. That would have been nice, to see some Fallout creatures, My sister, one thing she wanted to see more creatures. And all we really saw was the scorpions from that one episode, death claws, and more rad roaches. But that's it. She really wanted to see more creatures. And I did too. I wanted to see some bighorns. I really wanted to see some cazadors and stuff like that. Some fire geckos. That would have been really nice to see. Or some night stalkers. You know, it'd been cool to see some Night Stalkers. You know, Thaddeus and Maximus are hanging out at night at the camp where they think they heard something, but they're probably just a wind, but it was actually a Night Stalker just passing by. It's just a little glimpse. That would have been cool. But no, not a lot of creatures. I would really like to see more creatures. Maybe it just wasn't in the budget. But anyways, I have hope that they'll show more. It seems like we're not leaving New Vegas anytime soon. I just feel like this was a mid-season finale, in my opinion, when it comes to Season 2, and Season 3 is the second half. Because the fight for Vegas is not over. So they really want to settle and do more things here in Vegas, which I'm down for, for what they did. I wish they showed the Kings. Like, yeah, they showed the King as ghouls, but then they said, well, the Kings are still alive. Okay, so where are the Kings? On the Strip. We see their place that they live at, so why not have them patrolling the streets, And Lucy could have looked at them and be like, wait a minute, aren't you, oh yeah, those guys turned feral somehow. They didn't explain how they became ghouls. They didn't explain how the Kings became ghouls. Okay, that's another thing I'll add on the list. They didn't explain how the Kings become ghouls. They didn't explain where the NCR is. They'll probably explain that next season. But there are a lot of things they have yet to explain. That's why I have low hopes for that. Next, as Maximus was fighting the ghoul on the Death Claws, where was the Van Graffs? You have a Civil Rush right there in the background as he's fighting them. You could have had someone a Civil Rush asking, like, hey, I will give you some weapons if you buy them for me. Thaddeus had the money. They could have gotten some freaking weapons, energy weapons, from the Silver Rush. Well, let me guess, they're not there either. It would have been nice to see something from the Silver Rush or Mick and Ralph or something. These people had legit energy weapons that you could have bought. I'm just saying. You could have had that. I know time, but it just would have made sense. That's all I'm saying, that no one's helping out Maximus, but realize if Maximus loses, the Death Claws will come after them. They would have died anyways. And the NCR didn't show up. All I'm saying is that you had people in the Strip who have legit firepower to take down all these Death Claws. They won't do it for some freaking reason. But I know because of the show. But if their excuse is once again that everyone else on social media keeps using, well, years have passed, so they're probably gone. Everyone's gone because they have the same old excuse. Even though in the game people have been there for many years and they didn't leave. But for some reason, because it's for the sake of the show, so many people just left or disappeared or dead or whatever. Because years pass. And that's it. But everyone is just gone. That's another thing I can't abstain, but I'll get to that towards the end. But anyways, I think I'll start that right now. One thing that I saw was fandom discourse. And yes, there were extremes on both sides. One extreme was one where they complained about every single detail that was happening in the show. They were just complaining about it. They hated it. No matter what scene it was, everything was garbage about the show. There were no redeeming qualities. Everything about the show just sucked. Everything. Then you had guys on the other side who were the exact opposite. Everything was good about the show. There was nothing wrong with the show. And if you had any complaints, or you're a New Vegas loyalist, or you're a toxic fan, and stuff like that. I'm even listening to podcasts on Spotify where people who review the show every time it come out. Every time they found out someone had some sort of criticism about the show, they would downplay their criticism as them not knowing how to handle writing or understanding writing. So the fact that they had this mindset that anyone who had criticism toward the show was a bad person, a toxic fan, or not smart enough, it made him look like a freaking shill. It made him look like a freaking dick writer. I actually wrote that in the posts and stuff like that. Both sides, in a way, got on my nerves. Like I said, I'm a middleman. I enjoy the show. I really do. But I do have my pet peeves with the show. The writing is not perfect. It is not completely terribly bad, but it's not completely awesome either. There are some things they could have done better, but they didn't do. And there are some things that they did do that weren't all that bad. So I'm looking at both sides of the fence. I am listening to both people. One is overly toxic for hating it, and one is overly toxic for being positive. But to be honest with you, the one that's overly being toxic, in my opinion, is worse for a fandom than the one that's being overly toxic negative. Because the one that does things positively, the toxic positivity people, they are the enablers. And it's not just in this fandom, it's in any fandom. When you have an enabler, they allow bad things to happen, and they'll deny the bad things happening and see only but positive and good things. And that causes something or someone to explode or to go bad even faster. You're speeding up the process because you don't want to say there's nothing bad with the show. So I'm listening to these podcasters on their thing, and they're just constantly just saying, never mention anything bad. And it's not just the show. It's with Bethesda as a whole. They never say anything bad about anything Bethesda does. But if anyone criticizes Bethesda whatsoever, they'll come to Bethesda's defense all the way. And it's kind of sad. It's not the people you're thinking about. It's some lower people who made their own community, mainly inside the 76 community. And if you're the people who defend 76 since day one, I'm sorry. People shouldn't really be listening to you when it comes to giving out actual critical advice when it comes to a product, because you people were shilling for 76 since the day one launch and stuff. Yeah, no. Because Bethesda has terrible business practices, crappy marketing, and they turn Fallout into a product where it's less about the games and more about you buying the brand more than anything else, which I guess is okay for some things. They're able to survive outside of playing video games, especially in this day and age. But the fact that they can't even give you a proper remaster after all this time is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. This should have been happened. We got Oblivion drop, which was cool, but the New Vegas or 3-1 should have been happened since Season 1, in my opinion. As other companies have already done remasters or even remakes for their games and released them for people to enjoy over the years, but Bethesda for some reason can't do that, which is funny because they want to put everything into a Starfield, which, really, believe it or not, was a failed product, and they're putting everything online for 76. And not everyone wants to play 76. You may get newcomers, they may enjoy it, but sooner or later the newcomers leave. You can still see newcomers. I'll be on there because I'm on there at least an hour every day on 76. I am playing 76. And every now and then I'll see a person who's level 5 or 10 now, here and there, when I'm playing the game because they're watching the show. So it does increase the show. It does help. The show does help people get into the games. But how long do they stay? They'll stay for a while, enjoy themselves, and the camping setup is a lot easier now. So a lot more people will stay this time than they were on Season 1. Plus, having the show last longer, thanks to the episodic release, they will stay longer, which is good. Now, there's also rumors that Nuka-Cola Cherry and Orange are being on display soon. I hope for that as well. But anyways, my main problem, like I said, was both sides were being annoying as hell. But I think the one that was causing most damage to the product itself was the toxic positivity people, because they're the ones who won't call out any of the flaws, no matter how in your face. Like, they ain't saying nothing about Fallout Day, how terrible Fallout Day was, anything like that, or the bad business practices that Bethesda has been doing, like really $30 US dollars to get yourself the New Vegas set on 76. I bet you my sweet dollars that they will not complain about this whatsoever when they do their podcast episodes, because there's nothing wrong Bethesda will do in these people's eyes. That they know that, but they just don't want to stay it because they want to stay on Bethesda's good side. I've been watching these people for a good while, and they've been having interviews. They were invited to events. They were able to get some free stuff. They were able to get it because they were kissing, licking, sucking Bethesda off so hard, and that Bethesda gave them some stuff or were in good favor. We'll even hear Pete Hines in some of their audio dramas, or other people from the show, or devs that were part of Bethesda in their stuff. So these people don't want to do anything to rock their boat, baby. And hey, I understand that. You You can't talk crap about Walmart online if you work at Walmart. Understandable. You can't expose secrets like that at Walmart when you work at Walmart. So you can't do that because you're part of that brand. Well, look at you being part of a brand and criticizing the brand. Understandable. But at the same time, you're the last person people should be giving out criticism for that said brand. It just, you shouldn't. People shouldn't be listening to you, is all I'm saying. But anyways, I'm still excited for season 3. I'm really excited for season 3. After thinking about it for a while, watching the show and stuff, I'll probably watch it later on down the year, towards the end of the year, and have myself some thoughts about it. I'll probably have a better, more positive look. But even my sister, who doesn't really play the games, I only know word of mouth of what I say, looked at the show and had some questions that even I was thinking about. But I didn't say anything, but she figured it out herself, saying that some things just don't make no sense. She's right. For instance, where is the Mojave Chapter Brotherhood? Did they ran off? Did they take over Helios 1 since the NCR abandoned it? Or maybe the NCR didn't abandon Helios 1? We don't know. That would make a lot of sense if that's the case, Where was the old people, Enclave people, the retired ones? They're probably long dead and gone if they are old and stuff. So, yeah. So, if the Enclave already had cold fusion in their hands in the first place, or maybe Ludwig was hiding it from them, what happened to it? Yeah, these questions just stir in my mind and stuff. And how come everyone from the past is here? Everyone that Coop met in the past is just here, alive and well. I also like it how they tried so hard to some of the people on this fandom I was talking about, the toxic positivity people. They tried so hard to convince people that Mr. House was a villain. They really did. They made videos and everything. They were talking about their podcast. One of them got butthurt. One of the main leaders of this podcast, who created this community, got a little butthurt because people were giving him major backlash, which rightly deserved, of him trying to convince everyone that Mr. House was a villain. And no, he's not a villain. He's just a selfish dude who is protecting his property. And is trying to, I know if I had a freaking house and I don't want anyone living in it, if people who do live in my house, or I'm a landlord, you'll have to live by these rules, or you can get the heck out, and you will have to pay me. I have plans and visions for the future, for my surroundings, and I have every right to do what I want with my product, my land, anything that I own, I have the right to do with, okay? So I don't want certain people living on my land. Well, that's just how it is. Why do you think people raise the rent up in certain areas? Because they want certain people to only live there. They want people with money who will take care of their surroundings and themselves and not leave their neighborhood a mess. It's not just a race. It could just be a certain class of people. People who don't know how to take good care of things. Why do you think when you go to Publix, you see a good-looking bathroom, but you go to Walmart, you see a nasty-looking bathroom? And stuff, because people don't know how to take care of themselves who go to Walmart. And when you go to Publix, you do have people who do know how to take care of themselves. Or you go to places like Trader Joe's or even Lowe's Foods. You'll have people who hold themselves up to a higher standard. I'm not saying they're rich. Some of these people aren't rich. They're middle class, but they still hold themselves up to a standard, so therefore they shop at that store. It may not be cheap at that store, but they go there because they know that good quality product, good customer service, and a good surrounding atmosphere. As an example, that's the last thing I want to talk about. It's the Mr. House thing. Yeah, can you believe it? So anyways, that's what I got. And I think I'm going to do more other videos. I'm looking at my timeline. One, I barely upload. Two, I've only been talking about Fallout on this channel. No, it's not just a Fallout channel, I swear. This was originally supposed to be a geek channel. I talk about different geek things. But lately, I have been talking about just Fallout. And yes, I need to watch more stuff like the Superman Lois thing. I haven't forgotten about that. And talk about that. And other anime movies and webtoons I have been reading. So, yeah, I will get back to you guys on that. But other than that, I'll end it here. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Of course, hit that bell icon. This has the Madcrownxox. I'm Anime. Signing out.